Welcome back to the Ipswich Film Festival for Youth. My name's David Finn and I'm the director for 2020. The Ipswich Film Festival for Youth is a short film competition for kids 7 years to young adults of 25. It's my privilege to be able to interview our judges for 2020, and today our judge is Reese Lowe.
Dempsey McKean, the Tower of Terror, currently 17-0 as a professional fighter, coming up to my 18th professional boxing fight this weekend. Not really much of a morning person, I wasn't really so much of a morning person, but ever since coming to Matrix, Steve's kind of made me and forced me to get up quite early, but we do our morning cardio at about 7 o'clock in the morning.
Welcome, Reese, to the Ipswich Film Festival for Youth for 2020. First year as a judge. Can you just tell us a little bit about yourself, your company, and what you do?
Thanks, David. I really appreciate the invitation, and thanks for having me on. My name is Reese Lowe. I am the director of a company based in Ipswich called the Hype Project. We are a young company, only 2 years old, but we specialise in all things digital marketing, ranging right through to videography, photography. We build websites, everything that you can think of a modern digital company. Outside of that, a recent project of ours, I play a producer role on a film called Envoy Shark Cull, sorry. Andre will kill me for getting that wrong. That is a film that touches on the east coast of Australia and a shark control program, so-called shark control program that the Queensland and New South Wales government run with shark nets and drum lines. And it's due to come out at the back end of this year, which is very, very exciting, especially for a couple of young Ipswich filmmakers.
Yeah, cool, okay. All right, so as a filmmaker, I try and get some little snippets of advice and some of your expertise. So, okay, if I ask a question along the lines of, okay, I've got a filmmaker who wants to do a scene with the mirror. How do you make that work without seeing the camera and the crew, the director? There's got to be a trick there.
Yeah, that's a good question. Good question. There's a couple of ways that you can tackle it. A lot of people like to have the camera kind of sitting at an oblique angle to the scene. So what they'll do is they'll have the camera set up maybe at like a 45 degrees and they'll shoot into the mirror. That way they capture the reflection of the scene or whoever the actors are. That's one way to tackle it. But if you really want to get that nice front-on shot, there's a bit of a trick to it. So what you want to do is you want to set up the camera on the sink almost, pointing outwards. So you're pointing out to where someone would film, and then you just record that, you could record the background. Essentially what you're trying to do is you're trying to capture what would be around the person standing in the mirror. Now, then what you do is you turn the camera around the other way and you film the actual actor standing in their place. And in post, as we call it, when you get to the editing program, what you can do is you can put the recorded scene of the actor standing in front of the mirror in the middle of the screen, and then you edit in around the outside where the camera would have been, and it's called masking essentially. You feather it around the outside and you can eliminate the background or any directors or producers or sound people who are standing in the background. Masking, masking is the correct term for it. You're essentially taking two scenes and melding them together.
Oh, cool, very good, thanks. Hey, okay, so with a lot of camera shots nowadays, they're not just on a tripod. You've got to follow someone through a room. What can filmmakers actually use to help get that sort of stuff happening?
Yeah, so depending on what level, what you're making it or what you're doing in the film industry, there's lots of new technology out there to help people get the shot. That's the common term that people do use. Some of the more popular things these days are very big gimbals. So you'll see these guys walking around with these huge gimbals that they've got with the camera mounted in them, and they might have like a big suspender that goes onto their back, helps them hold the weight. What the gimbal does is it enables you to put a camera on a flat plane and you can jiggle it up and down and move around, and the camera will stay dead still the whole time. So as you're moving through a tricky shot where you're going through a room, the gimbal's holding the camera dead still the whole way through. Definitely one of the most popular ones. You see a lot of young filmmakers these days will use a smaller version of that with a DSLR camera. One of them is called the DJI Ronin, and they're super, super popular to get that nice, smooth, flowy shot. Last thing you want to do is try and hold it with your hand as you're walking forwards and you get all kinds of jittery on the screen. Yeah. So gimbals are probably one of the most popular technology these days, second to something like drones. I think you all know about drones. Excuse me.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Thank you. And I guess my last question is, obviously, the actor is really important, and the director and how they work together. How do you get the best from an actor?
Yeah, good question. For us in the documentary world, the best thing to do is, because you're interviewing real people, typically in a documentary, is just to be clear and communicate well with them right from the upfront. Give them an idea of what you're trying to achieve when you sit down to interview someone like that. And then make them feel comfortable. The biggest thing you want to do is you don't want to rush everything, sit someone down, you sit down and you just start asking them questions straight away. You want to make sure that they feel comfortable with you sitting off to the side of the camera right before the interview, and let them know. One of the biggest things that I like to let people know is the camera will always try and suck about 15% of the energy out of you, and you won't even know that it's happening. So you need to think to yourself, I just need to give that a little bit more, because I know that big camera's sitting there and it's not a comfortable thing to do to get in front of camera. So depending on who you're interviewing, biggest thing is to just take your time at the start, sit them down, make them feel comfortable. And once you guys have a little bit of conversation, then you can start asking the real questions, and you'll see that subject or the person that you're talking to will really start to calm down in front of the camera, and you'll get the best out of them. Yeah. Don't rush it. Don't rush it. Otherwise you might get a very nervous person in front of camera.
Yeah, like ourselves. Great. Cool. Well, thank you for your time. Look, especially today, just being able to interview and ask a few questions. That's absolutely fantastic. Also, I want to thank you for your time to offer to be a judge for 2020. That's going to be absolutely great. We're not far from the competition closing and that process happening. Can I just, like I said, if we've got someone watching and they are interested in finding out about the Hype Project, how do they do that?
Yeah, so the Hype Project, you can find us on all major social media platforms. We go with the trends, so we have Instagram and TikTok and Facebook and everything that you can imagine. But you can also jump on Google, search the Hype Project, and you'll find us pretty quickly. Yeah, would love to talk to any youth of Ipswich that have any crazy ideas for films. I'm always up for entertaining a wild idea.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you for your time. Absolutely great. Can't wait for the films to come out, and we'll see your judging very shortly.
Yeah, cannot wait to see some of what these young people in Ipswich are going to create. It's going to be great.
Awesome. Thanks, mate. Good one.
Thanks, David.
Great. Thanks, Reese, for your time today and for being a judge for 2020. Our 2020 competition is currently still open, but does close Friday, the 19th of September, the last day of the third school term. Our public screening event and our awards showmanies, the IFFYs, will be on Saturday, the 17th of October. For further details, please check out our website, www.ipswich.qld.gov.au/IFFY, or just Google Ipswich Film Festival for Youth. Get cracking with those films. Can't wait to see them. See you then.